5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome along. It's sloppy second time. Welcome along if you're watching live. Please subscribe, like the video and share it. And please, if it's only just to say hello, comment in the bottom there and then I get rid of that silly message that's up there. Can you see that message, Tom?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, new comments would appear in real time for everyone to see.
Yes, thank you. So please, somebody say hello and get rid of that. Even if you do it, Tom.
Yeah, I will do in a minute, mate. I'm trying to watch my internet.
Oh, well, I don't know. I've told you before. Can you watch your porn afterwards, please?
I can't watch it at all nowadays, man. I'm not giving them my identification. What are they on about?
But then that's why you get a what do they call it?
A VPN. Yeah, I didn't think of that, Chris. You've opened my world to a load of opportunities after the show now.
Exactly. Yeah, welcome. Apologies for the lateness. It was supposed to be 9 o'clock, but by God, Brad and Steve can talk. And I needed to get down to the shop before 9 o'clock when it shut. Thankfully, as you said, Tom, it isn't that far for me to go. But
no, luckily you can get there before closing, mate. Yeah,
I can, and I didn't do a big. It was just sort of to time me because, of course, I'm going on holiday in a week's time. In fact, in a week's time, I will be in the warmth of Lanzarote.
I know, rub it in, mate. I've got family going away around Christmas time as well. I'll be the one stuck here in cold, dreary England. I mean, where else would I want to be right now? Well,
this is it. And in fairness, I also took my insurance out, and I thought, well, I might as well do a multi one.
A multi one? What? You're going to go back again? Like what in January? Will that still annoy you that much?
I've been away 3 times this year.
Well, mate, you're doing really well. I mean, the channel's doing well, guys. Thank you for the likes and subscribes. Also, we need more of them so Tom can have a holiday as well at some point.
We don't let Tom have holidays. No. Excuse me, have you not read your contract? That you don't get paid for your holidays.
No, I know about this. Yeah, you know, but I need a holiday from Leicester at the moment, Chris, which is part of what we'll get through on the show tonight, I'm sure.
Don't we all? Oh, my goodness gracious me. Well, let's get into this and let me bring up... Well, we had two games last week.
We did. I forgot the first round of fixtures. We'll get through this lot quick, eh, Chris?
Well, you talk for a minute because I just need to go and do something. So you talk through them if you like.
Yeah, we might as well start with the one at the top there. Hull City 2, Leicester City 1, which was a game, obviously, we remember very fondly as Leicester City fans, where Hull turned up, matched us, and pretty much outplayed us. And then until the second half, where we had a bit of a go and we changed the formation up, we probably still could have won the game, ironically, despite how poor we were for 60 minutes of it. But a disappointing start to our week and kept Hull's good form going at home. They've been remarkable so far. Moving quickly on, we've got Blackburn there losing at home to Sheffield United. Blackburn, of course, in a period of struggle right now, down towards the bottom of the division. Sheffield United, with that wilder bounce, it's taken a few games to get them moving, but they've got a nice 3 points there. Portsmouth at home to Coventry. Coventry, the freight train that keeps on ploughing along, especially at home, but they're averaging like 2 or 3 goals a game right now. They're one of the top goal scorers, arguably one of the best sides in English football for free scoring goals right now. A good 2-1 win for them away, especially when you think we only drew at Portsmouth. Then we had Millwall, obviously, who can we get to later for Leicester, and they had another home win against high-flying Stoke City, who have started to drop off a little bit now after a very good start under Mark Robbins. But they got a nice 2-0 win there at home. The shock of that night was probably Ipswich losing at home to Charlton. Ipswich 0, Charlton 3. I'm pretty sure I was the only one who went for a Charlton win in the prediction league in that one. I didn't get the 3-0, but I got the win for that, so I'll take that. But yeah, Charlton with a very good 3 points there. I think once again their formation, which we'll get into in the next game, really makes a difference for them and their underdog status as well. And then Preston 0, Birmingham 1 there. Birmingham were probably a surprising result because they've been struggling to score as well. A lot of moans from their fans coming out about how they're not as free scoring as they'd like to be. But to get a nice win there away at Preston, have been in good form at home. I think they'll be quite happy with that, Chris.
I think they will. And I think those results there show you how open this league is.
100%, mate. So I had a mouthful of drink, Glenn, as you would pass back over to me. But no, it is. No, it's fine, mate. No, I wasn't prepared to
be screen, so I didn't realise you were doing that. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, mate. It's not a problem at all. It's me there. No, you're entirely right. I mean, the thing we say about this, you think about the era of parachute payments and how influential they can be. There's only 4 teams this year with parachute payments active now. So I think the league has kind of leveled out a little bit across the middle. I mean, you can see that from the points distribution, which of course we get to the league table later on after the weekend's games. We can go into a bit more as well.
Yeah, indeed. Now, I mean, just looking at that, I mean, interestingly, the 3 promoted teams, none of them are in the bottom 3, and the 3 relegated teams, none of them are in the top 3.
No, exactly. Yeah, there's been that little bit of what I call the Premier League hangover effect happening, especially with, Southampton more than us so right now. We were really struggling to get goals, That transition in style of play, I think, has been quite difficult because the teams in the Championship now are so good at maximising from what they've got to work with. They all seem, from what we've seen for 11 weeks now, to be incredibly well organised at getting back behind the ball and also breaking quickly. And teams like Leicester, Southampton and Ipswich in particular, I think, have struggled against teams like that because it's not what they've been used to in the Premier League.
Do you think we need to make changes? I mean, we're all playing this 4-2-3-1. We all kind of cancel each other out. And I did say in the show earlier, if anybody's got a bonfire and they need a guy, will they please contact Pep Guardiola? Because to my thing, and you may agree or disagree, I think he's ruined the game.
Well, we say that, but then this happens in football, doesn't it? There's certain eras. There was the Ferguson era, there was the Wenger era, there's been the Guardiola era, even a bit of a Klopp era potentially, right, as well along the way. And what they bring generally are different tactics. And what you find is after a certain amount of time, the tactic gets found out because teams have got to find a way to compete against that, right? So it's been the trendy one now for a few years, understandably. And I see the merit in it. I get the point of it, but teams are now getting wise to it, Chris, aren't they?
Well, interestingly, tomorrow night at 7:00, everybody, and Tom will be joining me again for that, and we'll be joined by Craig. We are going to be looking at, is it time for Marty to change things around? Because 4-2-3-1 isn't working. Interestingly, Tom and Craig have both come up with different formations.
I'm relieved at that. I was going to ask you, do you want me to change it if he's got the same one as me?
Yeah, no. You've gone for what you believe in, and you've been saying for weeks.
Yeah. Craig
has come up one, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is going to be interesting. But yeah, so that's 7:00 tomorrow, guys. Be sure, be there or be square, as they say. Second half of the game's match week 11, sir.
Yeah, right. Let's quickly bash through these and we can get to the weekend's ones, a bit more fresh ones. So Derby there with a massive win to start against Norwich City at home. Now, 2 clubs down at the bottom to start this week and end this week as well. But going in completely different directions. Derby were desperate to get 3 points and they ground out a decent 1-0 win there against Norwich, who are really struggling to score goals in the same way to maybe Leicester in some way. So a big home win that for Derby to start their midweek. Swansea then continued what's been a bad run of home form for them since we beat them at the KCOM Stadium. Is that the Swansea one? I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, it could be Reading or something, couldn't it? Because a lot of the bowls are all the same, Chris, aren't they? We'll call it the Swan Stadium or something. That'd be quite nice. But yeah, they managed to lose 1-0 at home to QPR. We've been a bit of a surprise so far in the league, setting up towards those playoff places. But QPR are a very difficult proposition for any team, really, at the moment, because they're very well organised once again. Wrexham there needed a very big result in midweek, and they got it with a 1-0 win against relegation-threatened Oxford United as well, surviving a red card as well in the process, and a disappointing one. That Oxford United, of course, couldn't get something more from that, especially when you think they're in a mini league, perhaps towards the bottom of the league. But Wrexham needed 3 points, have a bit of pressure building as well. Bristol
and
City.
especially, I feel like, you know, when you get the manager of the month and it's like a curse. I feel like my trophy giving at the end, you know, award at the end of each of these shows is a curse in itself. Because, of course, for me, Oxford got the award last week.
They did indeed, yeah, because what we do at the end of the show, guys, when you tune into the end, we will give out Performance of the Week award. And what I do is I'll offer up 3 suggestions. Chris will either get to choose from the 3, or he can completely poleaxe me and go left field, which is part of the fun of the show to make it more banterous for us. So, yeah, Oxford won last week. At the end of the season, of course, we'll tally them all up and tell you who's been the overall performance of the season in the championship. So anyway, back to the game.
That's what it's called.
I know, I was struggling there as well. At least we haven't given it a name like the Barry Fry Trophy, but of course, this I didn't put the memorial part in there because obviously that's a little bit controversial, perhaps. But I do have the Walsall Poundland Trophy I found under a shelf in the Poundland in Walsall. So,
yes,
you know, we'll call it something like that. But anyway, on to the next game. Bristol City there. I mean, if you're Southampton struggling at the bottom of the league, the last place you want to go to is the team with the second highest amount of wins in 2025 in Championship, and that's Bristol City. And what happened? Bristol City continued with a nice 3-1 win there. Southampton, once again, a bit impotent. I say that's a strong word to use, but they probably need some Viagra in their game, Chris, from somewhere.
I still say I still don't fancy Will still being there in January.
Sorry, 1 second there. Make a bit of a dry throat. Yeah, no, it's probably unlikely, isn't it? Because the pressure is now building. We'll get to it in the next game in particular as well. But the fans have been well on side of him, actually, until probably this week. And this was probably the start of that anti-Will still feeling around the Southampton fan base. So that is interesting how that is now building after a few terrible results.
Yeah.
The next game, Watford beat West Brom at home 2-1. This was a bit of a surprise because obviously Watford have just changed managers. You have got the new manager bounce. It's the next manager coming back in, Javi Gracia. But West Brom obviously have been very tidy so far. They gave us a real difficult game, Chris, to get a point from earlier in the season, didn't they? I thought they played really well. But you could argue West Brom's problem is similar to ours. They only seem to be able to score from long range. They don't seem to be able to score up close. They seem to miss everything. So Watford, they're getting probably a slightly surprising, but probably a well-deserved win at this point because they seem to be heading back in the right direction after a tricky start when the manager wasn't getting on with the squad and all the rest of it. And then, of course, Sheffield Wednesday have been very newsworthy this week. Obviously, now in administration, the fans have come out in force. We wish them all the best. Apparently today, there's 5 interested parties in maybe buying the club, which is really good news for them, and we're happy to see it. But, of course, they lost to informed Middlesbrough, who are one of the top teams in the division right now, playing some very good stuff and nicking games 1-0 and 2-0 every week.
I was going to say, they did well, Sheffield Wednesday, only to concede the 1. And I have to say, and I don't know if people have seen it on YouTube or on TikTok, the social media team at Sheffield Wednesday... if you don't include them in the trophy at the end of the show, because what they did, have you seen it at all?
I saw what they did in the pre-match when they were doing about the resetting the chance series.
Exactly, that's the thing. I mean, brilliant, and fair play to them for that. Well done, guys. It's funny now that Chanzeri's gone. These buyers are coming out the woodwork, if you like, but. It's probably actually now a proper price that they're asking, because he'd have been asking silly money, wouldn't he?
Well, you look at the way he hiked up their ticket prices, the season ticket prices, to really annoy the fan base, to make them the highest in the Championship, I believe, or one of the highest. You could definitely see the argument in there. He's kind of cut his nose off to spite his face. He should have cut his losses and done the right thing, because he's left himself now with totally nothing.
He has. Couldn't have happened to a nicer man.
I know, right? Yeah, sometimes karma's a bit of a bitch, isn't it, Chris?
Just a tad, just a tad. Right, let's get on to this week then. Ikez, if he can change the thing, there it is. So week 12 already. I mean, a quarter of the way through the season, Tom.
Remarkable how the weeks fly, isn't it, Chris? And it starts to make you realise how we got to get a move on ourselves at Leicester a little bit here, because everyone else is starting to do well. Michael's in the chat. Evening, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
No, it's flying by quicker than we think, and of course we're nearly up to Christmas. It'll be Christmas before we know it. Chris, don't want to scare you about that as well, but
yes,
what can we say about that?
Michael, sorry, just started reading this. Michael is a Wrexham fan. He's asking if we can take Cody back and they'll give us 2.5 million, which is not bad. That's a £500,000 profit in 12 weeks. Can they have Vestergaard instead? At this level, mate, you'd only want Vestergaard for the one season, because if you do go up, and obviously none of us know what's going to happen, but if you do go up, he won't be any good for you in the top division. But certainly in this division, he is the better one, and we have actually got him for 18 months, so it might cost you a little bit more. But did try to warn you about Cody. I'm sorry, I did try to sort of say, but.
We're sorry about Danny Ward as well. You guys sorted him out pretty quickly, didn't you?
Michael is the same as us there. We ain't going up. No, nor are we, mate. Nor are we. Right, let's start, and we'll come to Wrexham at some point, I'm sure. So stay tuned, Michael. Preston 3, Sheffield. Look, all I'm going to say is I'm bloody fed up because I can't get a point in the prediction league. I thought, well, new manager bounce again. If there's going to be a bounce anywhere, it's going to be this game. I went 1-0 Sheffield United. I thought it might be tight on goals, and we had 5. Preston, and when you look at the table, I mean, I know it's not going to be like that at the end of the season, but the table is just stupid because, Preston, but they always have this good start, and we're still in the good start period for Preston, I feel.
Yeah, we are, mate. Yeah. What was my prediction for this? Do you remember?
I don't. I can get it up.
Yeah, get it up, mate, and have a look while I talk through this game. Obviously, this was the
Archbishop.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's less about that. But this was a Friday night game, obviously, so it was under the lights, it was on the TV, and a fascinating game. This because Sheffield United were totally in charge of the first half of this because they were 2-0 up pretty much in 15 minutes. So like you say, Chris, the new manager bounce was there. Have you found my prediction?
No, carry on. I'm still looking.
Okay. Well, put your hand up when you found it. I'll let you take over. Of course, the goal just before the break, Clay, for Preston started to swing that momentum back and find those wounds at Sheffield United and Wilder trying to work out of this team quite quickly. Because, that has been the problem. It's taken him a few weeks to be able to remove the decay of what is sacking. And, the new manager thing over the summer really did. It's amazing how much they could have derailed their season by doing that, isn't it? But but Preston returning to winning ways after back-to-back defeats against Birmingham and West Brom earlier in the last week. So character goes a long way in this league. And I think Preston, when they're at home, they are superb, really, at what they do because they play a different formation.
Oh, I wonder why you asked me to check what you predicted in this game.
What was it, Chris? Do you want to say it for the audience?
No, I don't. Moving on.
No. I think it had a 3 in it for Preston, a 2 in it for Sheffield United, didn't it?
It did indeed. 3-2.
I've had a bad run in the prediction league, guys, so I've got to take my small victories where I can get them, right?
I will take your run over mine, mate, any day.
Yeah, bless you. I think I'm ahead of you now, mate, so I feel for you. Yeah, Michael said there, the own goal early second half was a bit unlucky. Yeah, Tanganga, pretty much kneed it over his own goalkeeper into the top of the net, which completely reset the game there after 46 minutes. And then, of course, the next Sheffield United man, Jefferson, for Preston to, on the hour mark, make it 3-2. But really, it could have been a draw this game. It could have ended up being a Sheffield United win. The character there, both teams are showing, means they're going to get into games like this. And both of them, mate, are still looking very tidy for my money.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we're looking at Preston, who are in 7th. They've lost 3. Same as us, as it happens. And Sheffield United, I mean, they're up to 22nd, so they're still in the bottom 3. and obviously Sheffield Wednesday will come on to are now on minus, but fair play to them. But I think Sheffield United, I don't think they're going to do what they did before, which was run away and get into the playoffs.
No.
But I think they'll be safe.
They might sneak in there in the last minute, but isn't that the sort of game you look at? Go, this is what makes the Championship such an interesting league.
Yes.
Honestly, what a great advert.
If you're neutral, as Michael says there, if you're neutral and you were watching that game, it was a good game. Yeah. They've had a couple of good Friday night games recently, which is a good advert for the Championship. I like the Championship, I've got to say, mainly because of VAR, but
I like how it's a bit more physical and a bit more rough and tumble and very much more unpredictable.
And the referees sometimes get things wrong, as they did in our game, but I'm not going to blame the referee. But we've got to be in the Premier League, haven't we? Everybody's got to be there. Portsmouth 0, Stoke City 1. Portsmouth gave us a good game, didn't they?
They did indeed, mate. Let me just quickly change my notes over here. So I've got them. Yeah, they did give us a good game. I mean, once again, it's one of those teams that look really solid, and it's only like Stoke on a pretty bad run, really. It's only Stoke's second win in the last 7. Which people forget, like you say, we're 12 weeks in now. And before I was looking, Stoke were doing so well and all the rest of it. And defeat for Pompey also means now they've only got 1 win in 8 games, Chris.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, isn't it, when you think about it? Because we look at how well these teams are doing, but it shows you how these weeks are passing by and that things are changing incredibly quickly. Stoke were really the better team in this, though. It was an own goal for Matthews that really made the difference. But I would say that he's underrated player for Stoke is Sorba Thomas. He seems to be everything that's coming through them in regards to goals is either coming from across from him, which led to the own goal, or he's scoring the goals himself. So they're kind of a bit of a one-trick pony right now. If they can find other players in that team that are going to contribute a bit more, they'll keep themselves right up there because, of course, they're currently in 5th, but starting to drop down that table a little bit. The stats were pretty equal at the end, and the Stoke goalkeeper, though, Johansson, ex-Leicester Academy prospect, don't forget, as well, one of ours we could have had, has actually, he's actually a man of the match in this game as well. Oh, big news there, Chris.
I was going to say, breaking news, in fact. I hadn't actually seen this.
Double check it's true, because
Yeah, it's not coming up yet, so it depends how new it is. Let's go into the. There's nothing on the BBC yet.
Evening, Blue Fox. No worries, mate. Nice to see you, mate. You watching the Blue Jays tonight, Blue Fox?
How you doing? Now, interestingly, nothing up there yet, which I guess is not surprising. Probably give them a few minutes to catch up.
What an opportunity for Hearts, though, this year. I mean, I know we're talking Championship, but what an opportunity for Hearts to win the SPL this year. They are looking very good, very tidy.
Yeah. Interesting just on Celtic, though, because a lot of what's happening at Celtic isn't to do with Rodgers.
Well, he's actually, it's a similar position to what happened at Leicester. He wanted more money, didn't he? And a lot of the Celtic fans are agreeing with Brendan and saying, look, he needs to be given more money. I argued with him at Leicester. I think he wasted a lot of money. So I didn't see why he could ask for any more, especially if we look at our PSR problems now. It was probably right not to give him any more money. However, it was part of the problem that led to our relegation out of nowhere, wasn't it? So it's interesting how he resigned from Celtic, which suggests to me that there isn't any more money forthcoming, or there's been a big argument about it behind the scenes. But I do think sometimes Brendan's a bit entitled. I think sometimes he expects to be given major money everywhere he goes, and he ends up in a mess,
Yes, Brendan Rodgers leaves Celtic Football Club. This is on the official Celtic site.
That's a shock.
Celtic Football Club can confirm that football manager Brendan Rodgers has today tendered his resignation. It has been accepted by the club, and Brendan will leave his role with immediate effect. The club appreciate Brendan's contribution during his 2 very successful periods at the club. Brendan leaves the Celtic with our thanks, blah, 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 blah. The process to appoint a new permanent manager, it's all sort of standard.
Who do you think it's going to be? Ange Postecoglou?
Well,
They seem to like to go back for a second round, don't they?
They do, and he did all right there as well. In fairness,
He did.
you know, you can't say that he didn't. I don't think that would be a particularly bad move for him because look, you know, Rodgers virtually got us relegated, walked straight back into the Celtic job.
Well, exactly. You know, he wants to play European football, no doubt, doesn't he, as a manager? And I think otherwise he's going to have to look at maybe championship jobs, Chris, which is really a step down for what his experience would be.
Yes, yeah. I mean, or they go out. Still, no, still not coming up yet on the news. But we're going to sidetrack because obviously we've got this news and
breaking news. You got the breaking news thing to put across screen.
No, but I tell you what, I have got. Funny you should say that. I say I've got it. Here you go. Breaking news.
We're a very professional channel, this, guys.
Yes. Thank you to Jamie Vardy for telling us, and congratulations on your goal the other night. But he never resigned at Leicester, but he has resigned at Celtic.
I was going to say exactly that. Isn't it interesting? He waited for the payout from us, which really damaged our PSR, like he was a stroppy child. But he didn't really want to be here because he was self-sabotaging towards the end, wasn't he? Like his feud with Soyuncu.
Allegedly.
Well, why didn't him and Soyuncu make up? We needed him back in the team. He was playing a Marty then. It got us in as a problem. It got us in a big mess, didn't it?
We did, but we don't. Again, it's one of those we don't know what went on behind the scenes, do we? So
yeah, but he's had history of this everywhere.
He may have turned around and said to Brendan, "Fuck off, you wanker! I don't want to play with you."
Yeah, but that happens in management. I've worked as a manager. You've worked as a manager. I've had people tell me to F off. I've had people call me all sorts. You kind of got to work past it.
I haven't actually had anybody tell me to fuck off. No, I've got to say that.
I had someone try to punch me once.
Oh, well. Did you get any management training?
Mate, I used to work for an Iceland store in a rough part of a council estate. What do you expect? It's what you're working with. We got over it with friends now. It's fine.
Yeah, but it's look. I am surprised because I thought, look, he's probably been their most successful manager since Jock Stein. But talking about managers going back, then let me ask you this: would you?
What, have Brendan back here? No. The only one I'd have back here would be Pearson because of what mess the club is in now. I think that you've got to look at the environment and go, Brendan would cultivate an equally bad environment like we've had at the football club, but he's the one who possibly started this mess. I know people say he should have been given more investment. I get both sides of the argument, but I don't think the culture he had amongst the players was particularly solid. And I think that was a big problem for me. I'll take Pearson back, as you know, because I think Pearson set a precedent which lasted us beyond his time here on what standards you have as a football club and what culture you have behind the scenes as a football club.
I kind of get what you are saying. We have to remember again, when you look at successful managers for Leicester, he's up there. He had more success for us than who was the guy in the 70s?
Oh my God, Chris, I was born in 87, mate. Come on.
Yeah. Jimmy Bloomfield, who loved by everybody, but we never won anything with him. And I just think, well, Can I compare it? Well, let you finish your statement first, mate. But no, go on. I finished.
I got a good comparison. I'd compare Brendan Rodgers to Gareth Southgate. It's how you view his whole body of work. And my body of work with Brendan is, I think he did very well winning the FA Cup, but I also think he threw away 2 Champions League places, which probably we could have got, and I think we should have got. I think some of the results towards the end of the season weren't good enough. I'm being a bit picky, perhaps, but I look at Gareth Southgate in the same way, and everyone goes, well, he was brilliant. I still think we could have won a World Cup under his tenure if he made some better decisions.
Yes, but the managers are there to make decisions. They're not always going to get the decisions right.
True.
Look at Pep this season.
Yeah.
So, yes, we could have won a World Cup under him if he'd made different decisions. If Wood could, you can say that about any manager.
I go back to that Croatia game where they started pushing up onto us, and they put Raheem Sterling on alongside Kane when Jamie Vardy was sat on the bench fresh. And what had Jamie Vardy been doing for that last season? Scoring bangers on the counter.
No. I'm not saying he didn't get decisions wrong.
Yeah. But I'm thinking if he made a decision, Chris, we would have beaten Croatia and got to France.
Just compare him to who we'd had in the past.
Oh, yeah, of course. No, I get that. Like Wally's with Brolly's, yeah.
Managers stand or fall by their choices and decisions, and they get some wrong. But when was the last time we appeared in two finals? And as in the Euros, and even last night, the English women, they lost to Brazil in the Felissimo, which is the equivalent to the Super Cup. Last time we played them, we beat them, albeit on penalties. And you've got to look at some of Serena Weidman's decisions and go, and she's walking on water. So I do get what you mean. I don't know whether you were saying he threw his toys out the pram. We don't know. I mean, I was annoyed at the time. I'm not going to lie, but when you look at the decisions, I mean, would you have him back over Steve Cooper or Ruud van Nistelrooy?
Probably not over Steve Cooper. Over Ruud van Nistelrooy, yeah.
I mean, look, 2/5, and I know we should have been in the Champions League.
It's kind of like you're asking me like the 3 worst women on Tinder. Which one am I going to choose? And it's kind of like, well, I guess I'll go with that one.
We will agree to disagree, sir. Because Jamie Vardy's agreeing with you there. Definitely don't bring Rodgers back. Look, he's not going to come back because obviously Marty's in there. But I just don't think. I was talking about this a while ago with a friend, and I think at the time you think, "Fucking hell, I'm glad he's gone." But when you actually sit down, like you say, you have a brew, you have a bite to eat, and you look at, as Steve said earlier, and you look at it and you go, "Well, actually, back-to-back European games. Yes, it wasn't a Champions League, but we were punching above our weight." Yeah. He didn't get the money he wanted. That wasn't his fault. He'd got signings lined up. But if you're going to blame anybody, I'm blaming Top on that because he never told the fans, never told anybody until the transfer window deadline day, as you know. He won us the FA Cup, albeit with a thank you to Ben Chilwell's big toenail, but it doesn't matter. He was the guy that won us the FA Cup, which we'd had 4 attempts at doing before and couldn't do it. I think we had 4, didn't we? We had 4 attempts.
The most losses. Yeah,
the biggest club not to have won it that's been in it. I don't think it was all that bad. And look. You say about Nigel Pearson. Nigel Pearson fell out with Albrighton because of something his wife said. It was only at the last minute that he brought him in, and obviously that's when things turned around.
No, I get what you're saying there. I know we're picking out specific examples, and I could counteract with other specific examples. But I'm not going to go for the point. What I'm going to take from this is interesting is that this is 2 clubs now, Leicester and Celtic. You could probably argue the same things happen, and as there's been a dishonesty from the leadership to Brendan Rodgers that has unsettled the situation and has led to a downfall. Because that is literally what it is, right? I'm sure Brendan was promised money at Leicester because that's what he says. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be lying about that. I'm pretty sure he was promised money at Celtic, and that money hasn't materialised either, has it? And look at the same end.
No, I completely get it. It's the joy of being a football manager, isn't it?
No, I'd take it. I bet you can have a nice holiday now. So you'll go on a holiday. If I was a football manager, I could go on a nice holiday if I got sacked.
Yeah,
maybe even Russell Martin will share the same plane.
Well, to be honest, if I see him in Lanzarote, I'll have a chat with him. Yeah,
get him some money, Chris, so I can come over and join you.
I thought you were buying a bar over there, but
we might get back to that.
I think he's not getting any money for this, of course, because he's resigned.
Oh, of course he has. Yeah, well, you don't know. He might be getting something. They might call it a resignation to make the board look better. You can't really trust these things.
It's the board that the fans. I mean, this isn't going to help the board at all because the fans, in this instance, were behind the manager, which is more than you can say at Rangers. But like you say, fair play to to Hearts, and good luck for them. It would be great to see that happen there. Yeah, I mean, look, Wrexham.
Would you take him at Wrexham? Would you take him at Wrexham? Michael, answer. Would you take him?
Well, he said he would take the Wrexham job if Parkinson got sacked, but Parkinson won't get sacked this season. Too much in the bank. Owners are not that cutthroat.
Yeah.
They love Parky. I've heard rumours about him not particularly being as...
There you go.
No.
Yeah, I agree with you. You shouldn't. Yeah.
Interesting. He has got experience in this league, though, obviously. I don't think no disrespect to Wrexham. I think he's got his higher, things higher. And yet, look, look what Parkinson's done for you. You know what I mean? I have heard sort of discontented rumours, but they are just rumours. Right, shall we get back to the Championship now?
Why not, mate? Why not? After that interlude.
Yes. Where did we get to? Portsmouth Stoke, didn't we? But thanks everybody for letting us know that. It made it an interesting chat. Coventry march on. Coventry 3, Watford 1.
Yeah, amazing, really. I mean, I said this a minute ago. Are Coventry the best attacking side in England right now across all the leagues? Because their goal difference and what they're doing is remarkable, really, isn't it? I hate saying that. It makes me feel sick as a Leicester fan, as you can imagine. 2-0 up inside 7 minutes. Coming out of the blocks, utterly firing, But Watford, to their credit, despite the red card, had a goal that they deserved after the red card there with the penalty with Loser. And also, they had a pretty good go of it second half. So the club does seem in a bit more of a positive place under Javi Gracia. But Coventry, who's going to stop these guys at the moment, Chris?
And I've got to say, and I've said this before, I know Brad is not a fan of ex-players becoming managers. But Lampard, did they get? I think they got to the playoff final, didn't they? When they lost,
they did. They lost some penalties.
Yeah, so that you could say was pretty damn close. I
think that was Mark Robbins, though, wasn't it?
No, that was at Coventry. He was at Coventry.
Was Mark Robbins at Coventry then, or was it Lampard? It was Mark Robbins, wasn't it?
No, I'm talking about a Derby. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
Yeah.
No, Derby, you're correct. Yeah, because they went with Villa, didn't they, or something?
We nearly got Derby up. He went to Chelsea, and let's be honest with you, in the season when he couldn't spend money, he got them into the Champions League.
Yep.
If only they hadn't let him have money the next season, who knows? Then he went to Everton, and let's be honest with you, anybody that goes into Everton was going to struggle. They were a club in mess, and they're only just now... they've had to go back, funnily enough, to Moyes. So, he get them up. And now look at what he's doing about Coventry. Took over mid-season last season. I mean, they are just out of the blocks.
They are, yeah, exactly. And the thing is, what Brad says about ex-players don't make good managers, that 99% of them are ex-players. I think what he means is the higher up ex-players, because you look at the you look at the Mourinhos, you look at the Klopps.
Oh, I know what. Yeah, sorry, I should. Yeah, He was having to go at the named ones. Do you know? The Roonies and
the Roonies and the Cleverleys, perhaps. Like Plymouth are struggling now, aren't they? I get that argument completely. Yeah, it normally takes a lesser player on it to be a better manager for some odd reason. Like Wenger, he wasn't much of a player, but a superb manager, right?
Yeah. I think the problem with a lot of the big names is they tend to go straight into the big jobs and they don't earn the right way. I think with going to Preston, I think then again, Rooney went to Birmingham and look what he did there. You know what I mean? But
after Plymouth, wasn't it? Was it after Plymouth he went? He went to Plymouth after Birmingham.
He went after Birmingham, I think. Yeah. He's just not a manager. He's not a particularly good co-commentator either. But
he got 2 clubs relegated in one season. That's remarkable.
It is. Well done, Wayne. Give him a medal. But yeah, I have to say. Look, I don't want Coventry to go up. And the reason I'm saying that, apart from the fact that it's local rivals, is that I want them to be in here next season with us because I love the local derbies.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. It is very good for the game to have them, isn't it? I mean, here's the thing, right? They're running away with it now, but this is the Championship. You never quite know. And Wrexham have Cov on Friday, as Michael said there. And if that's at Wrexham at home, I don't know if you can write Wrexham off getting something because they play a different formation to Coventry as well. And I think those formations, how they mix up, are quite crucial in this league, as we'll get to with one of the games in particular later on tonight, which a team that won on Tuesday changed their formation against a certain opposition and got some points.
Ipswich 1, West Brom 0. That was a surprise because they've really struggled, Ipswich. And most pundits, including on this channel, had them going up. But, all right, they're only just behind us now. And I think we've got a game in hand, and I know that won't be played for a while. But, if they do get round to playing that, they would jump over us. So they're an enigma to me, are Ipswich this season.
Yeah, they are a bit, Chris, because in this game, actually, they held West Brom to only one shot on target, and that came in like the 90th minute.
Yeah.
So it shows you there is something in what they're doing. It's just about sometimes maybe that application almost in a similar way that we've had at Leicester, perhaps, right? But West Brom, like I say, created very little. It was all Ipswich. They probably should have won like 3 or 4, but they didn't. They can only get the one goal, right? The finishing's a problem again, right? So, but it's a bounce back for them. You think they had 2 home games. They lost at home to Charlton. They put pressure on themselves, especially with McKenna getting a little bit of negative noise as well, to get 3 points. And I had this down as a draw. I thought they both cancelled each other out. So actually a good win probably in the circumstances.
Yeah. I just want to go back to the Coventry game. It wasn't in the Super 6 for the predictions, but it was in the Barry Fry Not Yet Memorial Trophy.
I'm glad you added a not yet.
No, that's it. Officially is called the Not Yet. Yeah, that's officially we include that in the title and all the artwork. But just ask me what score I went for Coventry versus Watford.
Chris, what score did you go to for Coventry versus Watford?
Well, believe it or not, there was a 3 and a 1 in there, and I got Coventry 3, Watford 1. So if you're watching, Josh, there you go.
I'm delighted you didn't choose it for the Super 6, being the guy that chooses it, because I went ahead of you in the league table this week because you didn't choose that.
You've been ahead of me for ages. You've just made the gap a hell of a lot bigger, mate. Fair play to you. Yeah, so that was who were we talking about there?
Ipswich West Brom.
Ipswich West Brom. Which that now, what did you go for in that? Because I went 2-1 to Ipswich.
Yeah, so you got a point. I went for a 1-1 draw, but he only had one shot on target. But it's a championship. They could have nicked it in the last minute. Hey, these predictions are like throwing crap against the wall, aren't they? Something might stick now and again.
Exactly. I would have used the spaghetti terminology, but you go for shit. That's fine, mate. I'm not going to argue with you. Not so clever now, are you, after your 3 points on Friday night?
I've still got more to come yet, don't you worry.
No, that's what I am worried about. You've got a lot more than me. Okay, Swansea, Norwich. Norwich, my God, what's happening? And sorry, Michael. I know you've probably just spat in the bin when I said that the S word there. But Norwich City, they're like lambs to the slaughter in most games now, aren't they?
Yeah, no wins in 7 games now for Norwich. And it was bad enough when they weren't winning at home, but they were still getting stuff away from home at the start of the season. Now it's on both ends of it, right? They can't seem to do anything. And Norwich are oddly, mate, they made no changes from the team that lost on Tuesday, which I find a bit of an odd decision to make when you are finding it a bit difficult. I mean, what do you think about that? Yeah.
There's an argument, isn't there, for make too many changes and the players aren't used to each other and what have you. But, all I'll say is one word, and that's rude. We know what happens, and managers don't change things and you're on a losing streak. But
this is true. Exactly. It's interesting, though, as well, because Norwich's centre-back Darling came on a free transfer from Swansea this summer.
Don't call me darling.
I'll call you whatever I like, darling. You've called me a lot worse. You've called me a lot worse, mate. Yeah. But no, it's interesting how sometimes that shows you you make a shift from one club to another on a free transfer thinking it's going to be all gravy, right? And Norwich, literally, their problem is, Chris, they're sloppy. I don't think they're a bad team. I know they're 23rd after this game, but they're not actually a bad team. You look at their team on paper and go, they've got some pretty good players there. They're just really sloppy. And also, they don't seem to be able to score a goal. They've got one of the lowest XGs. I looked at this for individual players. Like, what's the XG for every individual player in the Championship? They were the second bottom, just ahead of Leicester. Not to worry us, but that's a true story. So that shows you
earlier, in the chat, yes.
Yeah, but it shows you the problems we got scoring from open play as well, right? And that's the problem they've got, and it's really starting to bite them now. But Swansea needed this win because, of course, they were starting to get a little bit down the table as well, and this puts them back to 13th place, which is probably where they want to be. And Norwich released a statement sticking with Manning as well, so they've got to turn it around this week. Otherwise, I imagine that statement might be short-lived, like Brendan Rodgers and Celtic.
Yeah, you've got. I mean, in fact, the boards. Have you ever known a board come out and go, "Actually, we're not too sure about this manager"?
No, 100%. I've never heard that statement.
And all right, if they keep quiet, the fans are going, "What are the board doing? What are the board?" By doing that, they're basically stabilising the club almost. They're saying, like, "Don't panic. We're sticking with this. There's a plan." And look, how easily could we have got rid of Nigel Pearson in the league that year when it was the Great Escape? Sometimes managers does work.
And the Championship's funny, isn't it? Because he did really well at Bristol City, didn't he, Manning? And then you think, like, he really led them into this place where Bristol City are looking tasty. But you look at other managers like Nathan Jones, the Gary Rowett's, the Alex Neils, they jump around these clubs, but it's not quite certain if it will translate between one or the other. But sometimes you get lucky, right?
Yes, you do. And talking to Bristol City, and this will please Michael, I'm sure, 1-0 putting Birmingham to the sword.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and this is where Birmingham is starting to get a bit noisy in their fan base about Chris Davis not being able to make the team as free scoring as they'd like him to be, right? Because they're looking at their team going, we should probably be doing better now, as this puts them down in 15th place after this. Interesting little fact for you was Sinclair Armstrong's first goal in 11 months for Bristol City. That decided it. So, yeah, and like I said, they got the second most wins now of any Championship side in 2025, Bristol City, which is a good run of form for them, really, as well, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you can expect from this, really, apart from if you play Bristol City and Ashton Gate, you're going to have to work hard to get something from it.
I'd love to see Bristol go up. They've not played in the Premier League. They've been in the top division before, but not since it's been the Premier League. So
Bristol's the biggest city in England that's never been in the Premier League.
Yeah. You said that before. True
stat.
No, so it would be nice to see them up. We've got to talk about it. Millwall 1, Leicester City 0. If Hull was our worst performance of the season and the most Rude-like performance, this is worrying because, to me, he got the team right, Marty, and yet, and I have to say, fair play to Millwall, they deserved the win.
They did, yeah. I mean, you look at the stats, you might think it's an entirely different game to what we're about to talk about, but interesting enough, Jacob got goalkeeper of the week in the Championship for us. He was
through, but he got my man of the match, as you know, and he got your man of the match, didn't he, as well?
No, I gave it to Vestergaard.
Oh, you did, didn't you? You were an odd.
Daka needs a goal so bad. He's not scored for about 4 years, mate. So we feel you. Yeah. No, it's about. Do you
want to buy Daka off us as well? Do you need a striker?
Yeah. 2.5 million, and maybe we'll take Cody back. No, I'm joking. We don't want Cody back. No, he's over 30 games now without a goal, Daka, isn't he? I think it's 32 or something.
It's just short of a year since he last scored.
Yeah, remarkably bad, isn't it? But look, it's the scary thing is that the club, and I think it's the effort that the Leicester fans are worried about. Because I think, Marty, we can debate tactics. We do that tomorrow night. Join us for the Foxes Forum for that one, guys, debating the tactics of this. But I do think the effort is quite lacking. And the thing we've noticed in this division, especially look at Southampton and teams like Norwich, if you do not put it together for 90 minutes or can put together a 90-minute performance, you're bang in trouble. Because other teams are very well organised, very disciplined, and will do it for that time and catch you out.
Yes, yeah. Our next opponents. No, I'll just go back. Sorry. Like I said, Millwall, well done, guys. Brad was saying earlier about you couldn't Daka last year, the last goal. Yeah, I can believe it. I mean, Millwall are up in third, and Brad was sort of saying we could see Coventry and Millwall get promoted, and that's probably the worst scenario and the two teams he could think of. But look, those teams are there by,
Merit.
merit. Thank you. That's the word. There's an old saying, isn't it? The table doesn't lie, and Millwall have only, they've only lost 3 games, the same as us, but they've not been drawing them; they've been winning them.
Yeah, they have, exactly.
4 on the trot now they've won. So fair play to them.
And they raised themselves for this game, didn't they? When we had on the Millwall fan in the pre-match, for the preview show for this game, he said they were really up for it. They really wanted it. They're kind of getting that energy together as a collective, and it's making a difference. I will say this and be controversial. I'm not sure they'll go the distance because they're relying on 1 or 2 players quite a lot, aren't they? They're relying on, say, that Aziz, on the wing. And
he was brilliant. He was my man of the match.
Yeah, he was superb. He ripped Thomas to shreds, didn't he? Which was really bad for Thomas, not what he needed. But I think with that, they're going to have to hope for avoiding injuries as well to keep themselves up there. But a playoff place for them would be a good day out for them anyway, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm not sure about that. I think they might still be fighting, but we'll see. They might
have to sell before they buy, though. Whereas I think other clubs like Birmingham and maybe Wrexham might go and spend some more.
Yes. Salachi, you're saying, was the goalkeeper, but he did save a penalty.
Yeah, he did. I do wonder, though, if you look around the rest of the games, if that was probably a bit of a nice thing to give to him just because he saved a penalty. I do wonder if some of these admins who make these team of the weeks just go, oh, he saved a penalty, so that must mean he's the best goalkeeper of the week. But there's other teams there like Derby, who've got a clean sheet. So I don't quite know how that correlates particularly. Millwall got a clean sheet as well, but we didn't have many shots, though, did we? To be fair,
no. Although we did have more shots than Millwall.
Yeah, but it's funny. Brad brought this up on the show earlier when I was popping in and out, and he was right. I don't remember many of the shots. I went back and had a look, and most of them were P rollers that went straight to the goalkeeper, never troubled him.
No, I'm not saying they were good shots.
They were terrible.
I'm just saying, and they even count as on target. As I always say, they are very much what I call daisy cutters.
We can't even get close to the goal, which worries me, Chris. My logic is saying we're in bang trouble here because we can't even get close to the goal. We're literally shooting from 30 yards out, and that's.
Are we talking? I mean, did we have a false start?
I think a little bit.
We're up in third, and let's be honest. And I keep saying, remember where we've come from, guys.
Yeah, a little bit. I do think heads have dropped a bit somehow as well. I think there was probably a little bit more effort in those earlier games. I look back at that West Brom game, and I think the games and the Oxford game, I look at those two, I think they're the 2 games we worked the hardest in. And I think all we got out of them were points each time. And I look at that and go, maybe that's why their heads are dropping. They kind of feel they're working their asses off and getting nowhere. But in which case, then, do we have to look at the formation?
Well, we will be doing that tomorrow, as you say, at 7:00.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think Michael said this earlier. I do apologise. I didn't pick up on it. But yeah, manager Martin O'Neill is going to be interim manager at Celtic.
Well, that'll be interesting because Martin O'Neill doesn't particularly believe in tactics. He's very Nigel Clough, Brian Clough manager, isn't he? He literally tells players, you're going to do this, and he just tells... his instructions is what to Robbie Savage. You remember this, Chris?
Yeah.
Was, Robbie, you win the ball and then pass it to someone who can play.
Yes, yeah, indeed. But look, again, successful at Celtic in the past. The team we've got at the weekend hosted Southampton, who went down to 10 men as well. I've said this before, and I said this earlier, didn't I? I can't see Will Still being there that long. No. Look, I'm not a fan of Will Still. No. I'm sorry, I know he allegedly did well abroad, but then so did Graham Potter. Doing it abroad doesn't mean you're going to do it well in this country. Look at Fabio Capello at England. Just saying.
When he could fix matches, it was quite difficult for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Juventus scandal.
Allegedly.
No, Juventus got found guilty. There's no allegedly about it. They got found
guilty.
They?
Fair,
and he was in charge, yeah.
Sorry, I was just thinking of the legal fees. Blackburn Rovers 2, Southampton 1. Southampton are in dire straits. I mean, I know it's early yet, but they're in 20th on 12 points. Sheffield United, who are on a run, although they lost obviously the weekend, are on 9. Blackburn, on 10, so that's brought them back up to with Southampton. I just think they're in so much trouble, Southampton.
Well, I think the only hope they've got is they actually are creating chances. The problem is they couldn't hit a cow's arse with a banjo right now. If you look at any game they've played this season, in the first half, they're generally creating maybe 3 or 4 massively important goal-scoring opportunities that they should be putting away, but they're not. Adam Armstrong, I believe, hasn't got a goal yet, has he? If he has got one, it's got, it's maybe one. And he's the guy that's been a championship top goal scorer in the past few seasons. You need players like him to be hitting the back of the net, and it's not been happening for them. But looking at Blackburn in this, Blackburn are a bit funny, really, because I think they've actually been a team that you could argue, like a Norwich, they've not put it together for 90 minutes so far, but they've shown 45 minutes here and there of actually being relatively okay. I don't think they're going to tear up any trees this year, Chris, by any means of the imagination, but I don't think they'll get relegated. I think now they'll probably get a couple of wins in a row. Unfortunately, we're next on the agenda, aren't we? Yes. But I think they will improve here. But like you say, it is a disaster result for Southampton because ultimately you can look at all the Xtra, you can look at all the chances you create. If you're not getting points, it doesn't mean a hell of beans in this league, does it?
No, not at all. Not at all. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Oxford 2. It never rains, it pours for these teams, doesn't it? And look, I'm so pleased for Sheffield Wednesday. They've finally got rid of probably one of the worst owners football has ever known. Although, having said that, I hadn't realised he'd actually been there 10 seasons. And in his first season, they actually lost out on the playoffs to Hull, who we may remember came up and gave us a good hiding in our first game as champions. Again, he inherited that team, blah, blah, blah. I do feel for Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, I feel for Sheffield Wednesday as well, but I'm going to start with Oxford in this one, actually, because we talked a lot about Sheffield Wednesday. What a result this was for Oxford United in those circumstances, because you think this is like their mini league at the bottom where they're fighting these teams to stay up, and that's really all their aim is, right? That was the loudest Hillsborough's going to have been for a long time. And really, they came out and they utterly dominated early, and they probably should have scored more. A superb free kick by Brannigan, who's probably one of the best dead ball specialists in this league. He could be a Maddison. He's obviously not going to be as good, probably, but he's got that in him. He's brilliant, And Oxford were actually disappointed, and the manager said it to only be 2-0 up at half time, which of course then allowed a Sheffield Wednesday team to come back into it and nearly nick something. I mean, unfortunately for them, Bailey Cadamartri, their striker, they got a lot of hopes on. He missed some golden opportunities to get them something from this, including maybe a win. But I want to give credit to Oxford here because they seem to be beating the teams around them, Chris.
And they held us, didn't they? Although obviously we were down 10. But fair play. Look, I gave them my, award for the last week, and I did get the message saying please don't do that again. But fair play to Oxford. Very, very quickly on Sheffield Wednesday, because like you say, we have spoken about them earlier. It's looking. I mean, we're on -6 now. It depends, I suppose, how quick somebody comes in. But I mean, whoever comes in, I mean, they don't have to, because they've gone into administration, they don't actually have to take the debt over, do they? I don't think.
No, I don't believe so. No, I think there's some. I don't entirely know the rules, but the fact is they've got 4 or 5 interested parties. And look, they're a sleeping giant. If you look at what Sunderland are doing in the Premier League this year, there's every potential, if the right owners in charge of Sheffield Wednesday, with a fan base that could be 40,000 a week. They could do something amazing with Sheffield Wednesday. So there's still hope, even if they go to League One for a year.
I would never have ever predicted Derby to beat QPR on current form, but they did.
It did, and it was 2 wins in 4 days that are both 1-0 for Derby, wasn't it? Yeah. And you think there was a little bit of pressure they're building because they have spent some money this summer, mate, including £6 million on a striker from Charlotte FC. You normally wear the hat for this one. Yeah, but QPR did rally late in this well and nearly nick a point, I mean, they've still got something about them. But Derby are a bit low scoring, but I'll give them credit because they've changed their formation up, which I think they needed to do a while ago. So they started with 4-4-2 this year. They've now sort of gone for a 3-4-3, which is what Middlesbrough have kind of been leaning into, which has been working quite well for them. So I think that versatility has started to allow them to find an attacking threat. And I do wonder if going forward, even though I hate to say this as a Leicester fan, they might be picking up more wins than draws and losses like they have been recently.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Look, the team I love, which was the team that came up in by the playoffs,
Mm.
holding Hull, and again, Charlton will be very happy with this. An away draw at Hull, who are doing well.
Mm.
This is another. What did I predict for this one? Probably would have got it completely wrong.
I had
Yes,
2-1 Charlton. I was close. Yeah.
I had, in fairness, I had 2-1 to Hull. Yeah, I've got to say, like, I don't know why I love Charlton, but I just do. It's a childhood thing.
They're the
Um,
underdogs as well in this league this year. They're the underdogs.
they are. They are. The playoff winners are always going to be the underdogs, aren't they? So, yeah, great point for Charlton.
Yeah, interesting one. This. You think Hull were coming off a win against us where they went 4-3, 4-2, 3-1. The manager admitted after this game he changed up for this one after a win, and he went and matched and played 3-5-2. He matched up against what the formation Charlton is. I mean, isn't that quite progressive for a manager, Chris? To come off a win and then to change your formation in spite of that because of your opponents. And I think they frustrated Charlton as a consequence. Some bad news for Hull coming out of this, though. You think they've got the McBurney knock thing going on. Miller, the guy who scored against us, he spent already over a year out injured once. He came off with an injury in this one. So that is bad news for Hull when you think long term as well, because he was probably their second best forward. And if McBurney's got a knock, it leaves them a bit short now. But I think Charlton were quite happy with a point there to round off their week with a win away at Ipswich. And once again, I'll keep saying this till I die. I think Charlton are doing it the smart way. I think the formation they have chosen is giving them the best chance of it. Because if I think they were trying what everyone else is, I think they'd be near the bottom of the league. But they're a very good team and they're very well organised under Nathan Jones.
Yeah, like you say, came up as the third team. Michael has stayed with us for the whole show. Michael, thank you very much. We've finally got to your game. And this isn't my order. This is just the order that they come up with on screen. And this, away from home, is a good point for Wrexham. They're holding Middlesbrough to a 1-1. Again, I'm sorry, Michael, you're going to hate me. I went 3-1 Middlesbrough.
I think everyone went for Middlesbrough win, probably, with all due respect. I think Michael would understand why.
Yeah.
But
it's a good point for Wrexham, isn't it?
I think so, but I do wonder if they could have won this game as well. I think they looked so much better. And I think Middlesbrough had a bit of an off night as well. But all of Wrexham's chances, I will say, I've noticed something with, and maybe Michael will agree with me, he might go I'm wrong. I think when Wrexham have got Josh Windass in their team, they seem to look a lot more dangerous. He seems to be either being the one creating the chances or getting on the end of chances. To think we were linked with Josh Windass, weren't we, Chris, in the summer?
Oh, I would have loved Josh Windass, and I know he's old, and therefore he doesn't. We've had it with like over 30 strikers, but I would have loved him. And Kiefer Moore,
he's been great.
He used to be great, didn't he?
Well, he's a funny one. He reminds me of like a lot of championship strikers. He kind of has one year where you go, oh, there's something in it. He might get a big move, but then it kind of recesses back on itself. But he looks like he's in one of his bump years right now, like McBurney is at Hull, right? So I think, no, he was, and also it's quite hard to find a decent target man, I think, or a complete forward type player. That's why we've gone for the gamble on Carranza, which isn't quite working out yet, right? I think that's a very interesting decision to go for, because obviously they've signed Hardy as well from Plymouth, and that hasn't quite worked yet. And obviously then you've got, what's the chap called you had before? He was obviously, oh my God, he was Welshpool, wasn't he, in the film? And he's gone on loan to Wigan. Oh, I've forgotten his name now. It slipped my mind. Oh, it's been a long week.
I didn't watch the series, so
no worries. But anyway, the fact they've gone through a few strikers here and they're trying a few things, and and more should have made it sooner. That was my point. I mean, I think there was actually some disappointment from Wrexham and from Phil Parkinson that they didn't actually get a surprise win here, because I think he's very appreciative of the fact that you need to get the wins where you can get them from. If they can just get a little bit more smoother, perhaps. Paul Mullin, thank you very much. It's so obvious, Michael, isn't it? I just lost him there. Paul Mullin. Yeah, but I think, for them, I think as long as they get a bit more smoother with it, I still think Wrexham will move up the table. They're not going to get relegated.
They're not going to get relegated, and in fairness, they're not going to get promoted either. I'm just wondering, because and this is an open-ended question. This isn't meant as a dig or anything, Michael, but do you prefer playing away from home? Is there pressure on you at the racecourse ground because you you've got these big name owners. The guy brought in Superman's son to watch it, and he lost that one. Is the pressure on you at home? Is it easier to play away from home? So let me know your thoughts on that, because I would be interested.
They won away at Norwich, didn't they? I predicted that as well. They won away at Norwich.
Yes, yeah. There we go, Michael. Thank you. Yes, away from home we play better. That can happen. I just started doing a thing on the Prediction League show where I found a site that tells us what the advantages of a team being at home. So Millwall were playing Leicester, and what was the advantage? And
minus 21%, wasn't it?
It was, which was a huge surprise at the Den, but and when you bring that many new players in, and a couple of them are from Leicester, you will take time to bed in. Let's have a look at the league table. This is the top half, and we're still in the top half. We're at 10th. We're above Ipswich. We're above Southampton. Interestingly, and I said at the start of the show, 3 promoted teams not in the bottom 3, 3 relegated teams not in the bottom 4, not in the top 3, I should say. Very, very interesting. But, they said in the Leicester Mercury earlier, would you have thought that Leicester would have been the top placed team out of the 3 promoted teams?
No, it's what I've been saying for weeks now, isn't it? But I am worried, obviously, the fact that things can change very quickly. And by this weekend, that might have changed, Chris. I think we're on a decline now, as you can see from our last 5. And it's a bit of a worry, this, for me. It's my head versus heart battle I spoke about on the weekend, right? My heart is saying, look, please, boys, come on. But there's also now this real sadness going on in our fan base, because I'm not seeing people loving the club or hating the club. I'm seeing indifference. And I've always kind of had a feeling in life that's worse, to be indifferent about something. I think that's a really sad place to be. So I just hope that maybe Marty can spark us a result and get us 3 points, which will keep us a bit more happier. But really, it's going to have to be a season of consolidation for us. And I think if I was looking at any other team in this top half, excluding us, I'd say they've got a lot more hope right now.
I think everybody, Leicester fans, thought, that this was going to be easy. Look what we did last time, their sort of attitude. I think are delusional, if I'm honest with you. Looking at the mess we were in, Wrexham Dons don't want promotion, happy to be here, just stay up. Yeah. Which I think they will. You think they will. They're sat there in 16th at the moment, 1 point behind Birmingham. Look, just look at Wrexham just as an example there. They've only lost 1 of the last 5. Yeah, they've only won 1, but they're not losing the games, are they?
No, they're not. And please choose them for the Super 6 this week, because I want to predict Wrexham to beat Coventry, because Sod's Law Coventry have got to lose in a minute. So seriously, pick it, because you
them yet. So that's interesting.
But they might influence if you want to catch me up, Chris, because I think you'll go for probably Coventry, won't you? So I'll guarantee you, I'll go for a Wrexham win, because I actually believe they'll win. I think at home at the racecourse, in that sort of game, which will feel like a cup game to them on a Friday night, I think they'll shock Coventry, especially with the formations. But no, I think it's an interesting bottom half of the league right now. Sheffield Wednesday, they're down already, which is such a shame. I think even if they got some players in, I think it's going to be too much of a gap now to make up. I'd like to do this every week and look at the 3 I think will go down. And I was saying before last week, I thought Derby were in trouble, and they've now got 2 wins in a row, which shows you the magic of the championship, right? But goodness me, where do you look at the teams going down from this lot, Chris? They've all shown something.
14 points, Norwich City are ahead of them. And it does look like any 2 from today, because it does look like they're down. Technically, they're not. We know that, obviously. But that 14 points with the minus points is a very, very difficult thing to get back from, isn't it?
Wouldn't the last club to have done it been Bournemouth? Remember when Bournemouth nearly had a minus points, I think, in League 2, wasn't it?
No, they did have. They had minus 17.
And they stayed up on the last day, didn't they, in League 2? And it led them up to the Premier League under Howe eventually.
It did. I was here then.
Remarkable.
It was a great thing to be. Opta, they're predicted bottom three. No, that's not. That's the actual. But their predicted three to go down are Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich, and Blackburn.
See, I think
every week with Opta, by the way.
it does. I think this week I'd say Blackburn could be in trouble. I think Norwich will sack a manager and get someone else in to start improving. Maybe Portsmouth. They might slip.
Expected three. This is different. The expected three. Seriously, here you're going to love this, Michael. Sheffield Wednesday, Hull, and Swansea.
See, but the interesting thing is, I know Hull's are going to be a no, but Swansea have been in dodgy form, and I think that's the point, isn't it? Maybe Birmingham.
I don't know how they get this expected one.
I think they've been asking me, Chris. I'm chucking random names out there like they are.
Yeah, I don't. The predicted one makes sense. They've got Hull finishing in 12th, but look, here we go. Performance of the week. I've got three that you're going to give me for that amazing trophy. Who wouldn't want to win that? Hit your three at me.
I'll give them at you, mate. And as usual, guys, Chris does not have to agree, and he normally doesn't. He likes to poleaxe me. So, right, let's start from the top here. The first one I'm going to give it to as an option is Preston for the Friday night game. So I think they were, because they were also, Chris, going into this on a run of 2 defeats in a row. And to think then they go 2-0 down after 15 minutes and to have 45 minutes or maybe 47 minutes where they completely turn not only this game on its head, but a couple of weeks as well previously. I thought credit to them. So especially under a lot of, I guess not a lot of pressure, but, it's a real lifting win that. I think they did really well against arguably a team that's getting more and more informed by the week. So first nomination there for Preston. Second one, back-to-back nominations, Oxford United. I didn't nominate them last week, but you gave them the award last week.
I'm going to say you didn't nominate them.
Yeah, that was a bit of a fraudulent slip there, sorry. But no, I'll give it to Oxford United. I think they needed that 3 points of their battle against the drops. And, if you think about it, that is, like I said, that's the hardest game you probably could have had this week to go against Sheffield Wednesday. I know they've not got potentially a lot of quality, but with the noise and the fan base, that club being together, I think that was a very difficult game for them. And I think that's a very good 3 points, and they could have won by more. So, and the third nomination I'm going to give to Blackburn Rovers, because I think actually against Southampton, once again, it was a similar situation where they really needed to get a home win for their home fans. And Southampton were coming into this desperate and came out of the blocks, but couldn't find the back of the net, as freely as they would have liked to have done to take the game away from Blackburn. And they turned it around at the end with a bit of a change here. I think the manager made 4 substitutions at half time for Blackburn as well, or something. He did something quite insane to turn it back in their favour. So there you are, Chris. And get it in the chat as well. What's your pick? The nominations are Preston, Oxford, or Blackburn this week.
Right. Okay. Interesting 3.
Good luck with Connor Cody playing, Michael. Just a quick one. He's just popped in the chat there, mate. Good luck.
Let's start with Oxford, because I gave them the trophy last week, sorry. Feels like a year. I gave it last week. I can understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it is still Sheffield Wednesday.
True.
When we played them on the opening day, look, they had the crowd behind them. They had the respect of the Leicester fans applauding their fans in. They went 1-0 up, and yet we still beat them.
Yeah, true, very true. We needed corners, though.
We did, yeah. But we came away with the win, and that was probably like, if you're looking at games that they got to look at possibly being, big for them. The opening day would be one. And the first game after Chinzeri left would be the other. Blackburn Rovers 2, Southampton 1. It was a good win for Blackburn. You're quite right. Also, I should just say to Sheffield, to Oxford, it was away, and it was that sort of thing. So fair play. But no, Blackburn Rovers, it was a good win for them. Southampton are in a lot of trouble. It was against 10 men, though. Preston, they were at home, but they were taking on Sheffield United, who they've not only got the new manager bounce, they've got the same old manager back bounce.
Double whammy.
Yeah, I'm not going to go against any of your three.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's the first week for that, I think.
Because I was just looking, and I've got to say, well done at coming up with three, to be honest with you. I was looking at them thinking, like, when you read those three, and I'm looking at the results thinking, is there anybody that I'd put in there? And no, there wouldn't be.
I tried to find an angle for it, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go for one of you three. And I can't see further than Preston. I'm going to give it to Preston.
There we are. So it's the first time for Preston to win the award this week, guys. There we are. Congratulations to Preston North End this week.
Yeah. You obviously look at the games and see more than I did. I think the thing, like you said, there were 2-0 down, did you say?
Yeah, after 15 minutes, Chris, yeah. And then they came back in the 45th, 46th, and then won it in the 58th.
I mean, wouldn't we love Leicester to do that?
Exactly. I was worried you were going to go for Millwall, I must be honest. But you've given it to Leicester, oddly, one week as well.
I did, and I don't like to give it to Leicester because it looks like it's favouritism.
Absolutely. Michael agrees with Preston. I'll agree with Preston, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't give it to Millwall. They deserved it. It was a good performance, but they were playing Leicester. And that immediately makes
and interestingly, we haven't given it to Coventry yet, even though they're top of the league.
No.
They're not subconscious bias.
The problem is, well, yes, it could be, but the problem is as well is if they do another 7-0, then they probably would be up there. Michael agrees with us, by the way. They probably would be up there, but we expect them to win now.
We do. They've set a rod for their backs, haven't they?
I know. Preston won 3-1. Oh, sorry. Coventry won 3-1. Yeah, well, so what? They do it. So that's, I think, is the thing with Coventry.
Spoiler for next week. If Wrexham beat Middlesbrough, might that be the one next week?
Well, depends. Obviously, we don't know the circumstances and whatever. You are having a Wrexham loving tonight, aren't you?
Well, I think I do quite like Wrexham. I know a lot of people like to hate them in some ways, but I think they're a lot more likeable than Birmingham.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, for those of you that are sort of like corny jokes that are like Irish jokes for Irish people, sort of thing. Yesterday, and I did cover this on my radio show, but yesterday was Hug a Sheep Day. Oh,
really? Oh, don't do that, Chris. Come on.
No, I'm just saying it was Hug a Sheep Day. It's not for everybody, obviously, but that is a day. That is an official day that is Hug a Sheep Day.
I thought yesterday was something like Mother-in-Law's Day or something. I don't know.
But it was that as well. It was that as well.
Was it? Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so there we go. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you to Michael for being in.
Cheers, mate.
Appreciate it. Yeah, Coventry couldn't roll us over either. Couldn't even score against us. So, but no, thank you as well, Tom.
My pleasure, mate.
Very much would do because I want to have a very quick word with you. But no, thanks very much, guys. No show next week because I'm off sunning myself, trying to get rid of my white bits, and which is basically my whole body. Thanks for watching. If you're watching this either live or on catch up, like the video, subscribe, and share it as well. Really, really do appreciate it. Thanks for being in, Michael. Sorry your game was the last one up. It's like Leicester are always last on Match of the Day. It was just the way it came out. Cheers there, Blue, all the way from Canada.
Go Blue Jays. Go Blue Jays, mate.
And if you are listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending me your ears. Everybody, that's it. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 when we are looking and saying, does Marty need to change his formation? Interesting. We'll find that out tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.